One of the most enduring metaphors for God's work in the world is the metaphor of the harvest. In the Gospels, for example, Jesus says that the harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few. John uses the image of the harvest in a particularly dramatic way at the end of Revelation 14, and it provided Julia Ward Howe with among the most dramatic hymns of the 19th century. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Friday, November 12th, 2021. Here is what John reports about the next part of his vision into the heavenly court. Then I looked, and there was a white cloud, and seated on the cloud was one like the Son of Man, with a golden crown on his head, and a sharp sickle in his hand. And another angel came out from the temple, calling with a loud voice to the one who sat on the cloud, "Use your sickle and reap, for the hour to reap has come, because the harvest of the earth is fully ripe." So the one who sat on the cloud swung his sickle over the earth, and the earth was reaped. Then another angel came out of the temple in heaven, and he too had a sharp sickle. Then another angel came out from the altar, and the angel who had authority over fire, and he called with a loud voice to him who had the sharp sickle, "Use your sharp sickle and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for its grapes are ripe." So the angel swung his sickle over the earth and gathered the vintage of the earth, and he threw it into the great winepress of the wrath of God. And the winepress was trodden down outside the city, and blood flowed from the winepress as high as a horse's bridle for a distance of about 200 miles. Wow. This is a particularly interesting image, for people have interpreted it in a whole variety of ways, many quite opposite one another. Many interpret the passage as God's judgment upon the wicked, while others see the wine as the blood of the martyrs. The context seems to point to the first explanation, since the winepress is depicted as the winepress of God's wrath. But however one interprets this passage, one thing remains clear, that in the end, God's will is done, and God brings final judgment upon the earth. You could take this as a warning or as a source of comfort. As a warning, because it reminds us that the forces of darkness will receive final judgment. Comfort, because it reminds us that if we wait patiently for God, we will be vindicated at long last. Julia Ward Howe's great hymn, the Battle Hymn of the Republic, reflects both elements, doesn't it? It looks forward to a time of both judgment and of vindication. Ironically, it became an iconic hymn for the Union during the Civil War. Ironic, since Howe herself was a pacifist. Still, it has become more than a hymn about war. It is a hymn about the great causes of social righteousness, for freedom from tyranny, freedom from oppression. I leave you with a great recording of the hymn. In the meantime, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.
Mine eyes have seen the glory of